I'm home from prison. I have a mountain of shame on my back. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have a pitch deck, or I didn't have anything, but I did have people in my life who were struggling. And I didn't really know the answer at the time, but it began to reveal itself.
All right, welcome back to the Pursuit of Profit podcast. Today, we're diving into one of the most inspiring redemption stories in franchising. My guest, Tim Dougherty, grew up in tough circumstances, made decisions that landed him in federal prison, and carried the weight of that shame for years. But instead of letting it define him, he rebuilt his life, starting with the gym, a handful of prepped meals, and a desire to help others. That small spark has grown into Project LeanNation, a rapidly scaling healthy prepared meal franchise with over 80 units sold and more than 30 operating. They've served more than 100,000 customers and helped shed over 400,000 pounds nationwide. What makes Project LeanNation different? It's not just the food. It's the accountability, the coaching, and people-first focus that transforms lives. In a country where more than 40% of adults struggle with obesity, Tim has built a brand that's tackling the problem head-on with real impact. This brand has a low investment and solid unit economics. You're in the food business without the complexities of running a food prep business because the food is prepared by the franchisor and shipped to your location. All right, let's get into it. Let's begin with your story is super powerful. You went from carrying shame right after prison to building one of the fastest growing healthy meal brands in the country. So I want you to take us back to the beginning. How did that journey unfold? What inspired you to create Project LeanNation? Mind you, in really one of the fattest countries in the developed world, right?
It's going to be a long story. I hope we have some time, but I think it starts prior to that. So growing up, I grew up with very limited means, very poor nutritional strategies, as well as all the people around me. As you might guess, growing up with limited means puts you on this path in life where you think that's the answer. And I often say this, I'm 46 years old. I wish I could go back and say that it was like my faith that saved me. But what really saved me was the gym. So I was with a big group of guys, half went one way and the other half went to the gym. Those guys didn't make it. But in the gym was the first place there, pain ever had purpose. And I found a little bit of dignity. But the thing that I found that really changed the trajectory of my life is I found some good men. And I just lacked that in my life. My father was in prison. My mother struggled with addiction. I had some grandmas that poured love on me. If I didn't, I'd probably be really lost. But ultimately, these guys, these are the first time I've been around sophisticated men. They had all the shiny things. And I wanted to be part of that. And the other thing that they had is they placed a little belief in me. And I think that's been a consistent in this whole story, is that somebody's come along and believed. And I jumped in with both feet. So I helped raise money for public companies. I had a really exciting career. They told me all the things I needed to hear. They said, hey, you got everything it takes, kid. And like, I worked for that. I thought I was working for the money, but I was working because they were pumping my tires. And ultimately, in 2008, the FBI shows up in my office and they tell me not to worry. No big deal. You're the subject of the investigation, not the target. And all I had to do was cooperate against my dear friends. And then I could have probation, and I could have my life, and I could have what at the time, even though I had stacked a mountain of evidence that said I was of value, I never really felt I was of value. And in that moment, I made a decision. I decided not to trade my freedom for their belief, but I didn't know what the consequences that were. And what the consequences was 3 years in federal prison. At the time, I had a 5-year-old son. I had to find a way to put that in context he would understand. So I said, Connor, I'll be back in 3 Christmases, which was the hardest sentence I ever had to say in my life. And I had a little girl.
I bet.
Fast forward, I come home. I'm essentially unemployable. I didn't really have a belief I'd ever be good at anything else. And I had 3 years before I could go back to securities, because I believed that was the only path for me. And how we got to Project LeanNation is a dear friend of mine who was in real estate asked if I would help work out with one of our other buddies. And of course I told him no, but I then did invite him to meet me at the YMCA. And what was going on, this didn't really start, I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have a pitch deck, or I didn't have anything, but I did have people in my life who were struggling. And I didn't really know the answer at the time, but it began to reveal itself. And one thing led to another. I'm incapable of doing anything a little bit. I was helping a couple guys work out. Next thing you know, I opened a gym, the whole nine. And I would always be eating these little meals that I'd make for myself. And I started making them when I was about 25. I wanted to look better, feel better, perform better. But looking back, I probably like the control of it. And these guys asked me to make their food. I'm going through all this stuff because I'm home from prison. I have a mountain of shame on my back.
What year is this?
Yeah, I came home in July of 2012.
Okay,
so
got it.
Some time ago. And, I came home, my daughter, who was a little girl, is now 5. It was a lot of adjustment in life. And I did have some things going for me. I did have like a little army of people who just wanted to see me win. And the things that my other friends were excited about, like pursuing their professional career, I had no interest in. Like I was like pursuing my health and getting to know myself. And I never felt any purpose in my career, but through kind of working with these guys in their health, I started to feel that little spark. And then one day some guy asked me, "Hey, Tim, would you make me those meals?" And the funny thing about it is, of course, I told him no, because for some reason I felt like I was above it and below it all at the same time. But the second time they asked, I cooked the food. And it all started with that. And what was going on is I would cook the food at my house and then I would drive it to their doorstep. And there was some kind of like little magic happening at the doorstep. I didn't recognize it then, but it wasn't what I was delivering them. It was everything beyond the meal. I was showing up for them in a unique way. And I'm incapable of doing anything a little bit. So pretty soon I'm making 200 meals, 400 meals, 1,000 meals in my house. And really I wasn't giving them food. I was giving them belief or hope. And I wasn't the hero in the story. These were guys that struggled with their health who they had the courage to trust me in that. And what was going on is that I was pouring so much belief on them that in time that reflected back to me. And that was like, that healed something in me that needed to be solved as a result of my incarceration. And then it just lit me on fire. Then this became, like, this isn't a business for me. This is like redemption. And then what happened after that? And you can ask all the questions, but every single resource, every single person God just put in my life to pave this path to make a massive impact on the communities that we serve across the country today. And what started as, cooking chicken in the garage has turned into a nationwide movement now.
Absolutely. I love the name too. It's Project LeanNation. 40% of the country is obese.
Well, I think the numbers are more than that now.
It's crazy.
Well, they're saying that 75% of Americans are classified as obese or overweight, but the bigger one is 1 in 5 of our children. And you see it you see it at the grocery store. You see someone who's struggling with their health, and behind that is a child who is facing those consequences already, and not by choice. We live in a world today where there's so much confusion about nutrition, and it profits from convenience and confusion. So that, like, it's not that it's not just that they're lazy. It's mostly, well, some people are lazy, don't get me wrong, but they're uninformed. And like,
agreed, totally.
And that's the real problem. And there's no motivation to solve that today.
Totally. So they go to the gym. I go to the gym, I eat salad, and I still can't lose this 15 stubborn pounds. Your hormones are out of whack. Like, there's so many things to unpack that we're not going to solve this problem, on a podcast. But I understand your mission. Yeah. I do understand your mission. I live the mission in the business, seeing people. I'm making I think you said it, 1,000, 2,000 meals out of your garage. And I know what year we're in, so we have an idea of this timeline. When are you like, I need to open up a brick and mortar retail location? When does this happen?
Yeah, great question. So like I shared, I had this small, like, boutique style fitness place. And what had happened is I had connected with this doctor, and he preferred me like every influential guy in my town, top real estate guy, the attorney, everybody. So I'd come in and I would start telling the stories about, and I came from like marketing and finance, so I don't know anything about food distribution and the economics behind it. But I'd say, hey, I sold $5,000 worth of food out of my car, 10, 12. And there was this guy, his name was Joel. And Joel owned like a ton of real estate, but he asked me to meet him at this like B Plaza, but on the right side of town. So I pulled in the parking lot, can't find Joel. He calls me, he's behind the building. So Dollar General wanted to reduce their footprint. So he's got me standing at the back of the building. And he's saying, Tim, I'm going to bring the landscaping down the side of the building. And he's like, he has this, he's like painting this picture for me. And it was another one of these moments where somebody believed just a little bit more than me. And to my shock, I said, Joel thinks I have a business here, which was interesting, right? And I had learned some things in delivering the food. So I didn't have the awareness to know at the time, but what I had gathered is that if they were my friends, they did great. And if I was just dropping a box of food off on the doorstep, they did it. But the truth of it is I had rapport and I had a coaching relationship with them. So I was offering them counsel and belief. And that was what was driving my business. So when Joel brought it up, I thought that this could be the platform that we could then cultivate more of that, because I know, like, and you could see the stats, like the direct to consumer business, like Factor, Trifecta, they do a good job of putting a box of food on your door. They're pretty good at it, but that's where the relationship stops. And
that's right.
It took us almost a decade to define and execute and scale this process, but that's where we begin.
That's right. There's no accountability in that relationship. All you're doing is drop shipping food. You're in the food delivery business. You're not in the changing life business. You're not in making sure your clients are achieving their goals business. Her fitting in a size 2 dress for her upcoming wedding business. It's very, very different. And some of these business models are praying that you kind of don't even meet your goals, because if you meet your goals, you're like, oh, I could go back to lasagna and, eating what I want to eat. I mean, look at the failure of, even Weight Watchers. That's a total failure. Nutrisystems. These brands they're nothing more than glorified marketing models. They're really not in the business of helping you achieve any of your goals.
I would challenge it. I would say, like, on the direct to consumer side, they're pretty good at putting a box of food on your doorstep. Even Weight Watchers,
Yep.
like, they have a sound strategy to coach people, because so much more of eating habits is beyond the food, right? But that's where we bring the two together and try to bridge the two together.
I like that. Most people don't get the full story when they start exploring franchising, so they make mistakes that cost them big. That's why my business partner, Justin Guevara, and I wrote Beyond the Brand, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Fearless Franchising. It is our proven 6-step process at Phrenosity to help you find the right franchise, avoid costly pitfalls, and build a business that truly fits your goals. Grab your copy of Beyond the Brand on Amazon or any major book retailer and start building your future fearlessly. The store.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
okay.
That's a big store if it was a dollar store.
Well, no, we took the
That's
back
a
corner.
big,
So
all
like
right, I was going to say, man, that's
spot
a
is
huge
about
space.
1,400 square feet. So here's what I knew. In this city of Rochester, I'm the gym guy. So I just know all my friends are coming, right? Nobody showed up. So I opened the door and learned a valuable lesson. But what I didn't anticipate was who would show up. So at the time, I was like heavily involved in CrossFit. So we did have like 10% of these people who were athletes and into bodybuilding, things like that. We had 10% of people who were maybe facing a challenge that needed additional intervention. But the people in the middle, like the 80% in the middle, were 60% female, almost all around 40 years old, with the same hurdle. I want to lose 40 pounds. So it was like almost predictable, but general population drove the business.
Okay, got it. So I thought you were going to say something like, I taught my friends that I will deliver it to their door. No need to get off the couch. And now you're brick and mortar saying, no, you need to come to me, pick up your product, sit in my office and get your coaching moment so that I can leverage my time. Well, right. So that's kind of a rewiring.
That was part of it. But what right away, what they recognized is that I didn't have the awareness to articulate it, but the unique part of the relationship was what I was bringing to them. And even today, more than 80% of our users take advantage of pickup, and a small percentage take advantage of home delivery. but we try to create that relationship. So, I always say it like this. It's easy to quit a box of food on your doorstep. It's a little harder to quit on yourself when someone else is invested in your success.
That's right. That's right. Totally agree with that. Yep. All eyes are on you. And it's like, look, you're giving up. You're going to fail. Like, you're going to stop. And then that's it. That's like all you have to hear, right? It's like, no, I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping. I went on vacation, and it derailed my momentum. It derailed my habits.
Yeah. We'll see you next weekend.
That's right. So I don't want to confuse the audience, because the business model is not the franchisee preparing the meal. So I don't want to take this conversation where you keep preparing the meal. You are the franchisor now. You have a commercial kitchen. You're preparing the meals for your franchisees. Stop me if I'm wrong. That's my understanding.
I'll break it down for you. So,
good.
We're heavily involved in scaling the business now, and like franchisees aren't standing in line to get in the food business, right? But we are leveraging kind of the benefits of a reoccurring consumable without the headaches of being in the business of food. So our franchisees, they don't make food, they move food, right? We're in the business of reoccurring revenue and impact. And how we achieved that is that early on, I swung for the fences and opened up a manufacturing facility. Today it's 30,000 square feet, and they're cranking out about 50,000 meals a week. And we were moving to regional distribution centers to support our growth. So our franchise partners, though they manage the logistics of food, they don't deal with chefs and purveyors and back of the house drama and waste, all the things associated with the headaches in the QSR typical food business.
That's great. So tell me more about the food itself. This is non-genetically modified. Is it gluten-free?
It's been an evolution, right? Because what I learned when I started, I could eat chicken and yams for a year, right? But what I learned is that the consumer, and you had to meet them where they are, right? And they wanted to get a result and enjoy what they eat, right? So that was different than what I was. I was like, well, this will get you there the fastest, but they want to have something that is sustainable, right? And they can reach their goals. And we kicked around a lot of things. Like I said, I was heavily involved in CrossFit when I started. So I was on the paleo kick. Everybody should be paleo, then it's keto, then it's balanced. Ultimately, what we landed on is we think it's really critical for everything we do to be science-based. So we roll in a dietitian to audit all of our nutritionals. We pursue something that's very close to about a zone diet. We're heavily into whole foods. Gluten has always been an issue for me. When I eat it, I get my skin gets inflamed. So I just eliminated gluten right immediately, which was we were kind of ahead of the curve. And then we leverage our dietitian to keep us at the forefront of things. So a couple years back, it's seed oils are and become something that people who are in the know are not going to want to participate in. So we pulled that out.
Totally.
Then it's hey, there's seed oils in a secondary ingredient, like a pepper or a carrot, so we just continue to clean up the labels. And for us, we feel balanced nutrition is the best strategy. And then we educate our users how to navigate that path based on maybe some either preferences or intolerances that they are navigating specifically.
Interesting. I've had investments in food concepts and beverage concepts, and we went through the FDA process of the nutrition label. Did you do this scientifically? Do all of your products you do?
Yeah. So we the food and compliance that's related to the food business is very high. We have an FDA facility on site. They're on site every day. And then when it comes to labeling, right? There's all kinds of labeling software, but there's a very specific USDA accredited software that we accredit all nutrition labels. And sometimes we were just going through something because sometimes there's things that people see like a 449 rule, or there's these little things that come up in nutrition, but that's not always completely in line with the USDA label, but we feel like that is going to be our North Star.
I think it's great. I want to ask you a question about packaging, because packaging and reduced oxygen and vacuuming, that you have to seal it in because you'll lose it. You lose freshness, right? How were you doing that as a young franchisor running a commercial kitchen?
Yeah, great question. I mean, this has obviously been an evolution. When I first started this thing, I was in like the, plastic containers that are brittle, that break, and there's all kinds of challenges in there. And about 2.5 years ago, we visited an amazing facility in Philadelphia, and I was able to secure 3 of these machines. They're like they have a drawer, 2 meals go in. It does like 24 cycles per hour, and I had 3 of them. So we outfitted the thing. It was like the best thing we ever did. And it was called reduced oxygen vacuum packaging. And the benefit to that is it preserves nutrients, it removes the air, there isn't moisture issues, but it's about 30% less plastic than the predecessor to that. So I was so excited about this packaging. I would get a bunch of the sample meals, I'd put them in my gym bag, and I'd run around and show them to everybody because I thought it was so amazing. So ultimately, those machines inside of just about 12 months couldn't support the volume. So then we get into the next level, which is these inline machines that can like kick out 1,000 meals an hour, because our manufacturing team that was assembling meals, ultimately the packaging became a bottleneck for us. So we had to continue to invest in the infrastructure to keep up with our manufacturing demand.
Nice.
And now it's just plug and play. Now we just put one next to another one, next to another one, but it's incredible to watch.
Love it. That's great. Great to see. Yeah, you can't do this in a plastic container. It doesn't work. I think it's great what you're doing. I love it. So so it's cooked, it's automatically every nutrients, freshness, sealed. Then what? Frozen?
Well, so what we do is there's all kinds of rules with food, right? So you have to cook it, then you have to temp it. If it falls to a certain temperature quicker than it should, it has to be recooked. There's all these things that are in place. And then we take it and we seal it. Then that goes right into we have about a 20,000 square foot freezer. So what we do is we freeze the product, and then that goes into our supply chain. And our belief, so this is a big question in our business, because is it fresh or is it frozen? And really, like when you do the research on nutritional density, right? If somebody's sending something fresh, this thing is dying since the day it's on its way to your house.
100%.
If you don't eat it on day one, it's a science experiment by the end of the week. Our belief is that we freeze the product at its nutritional peak. And there's 2 things. So on the consumer side, they don't have any waste. Our franchise partners don't have any waste. And even that vacuum packaging in the refrigerator, we say that it lasts 7 days. The company says it lasts 14 days. So we don't want to stretch it out. Plus, we want our clients to eat the food so they get the results that they've intended by doing business with us.
I love that you thought all this through. And everyone just wants to talk about the franchise. What's your franchise fee? Like, let's get granular. You built something special. Brag about it, because you put thought into all these things that matter. And once the consumer receives this product, this is a real product with real nutritional value that could actually change your life. And everyone listening and everyone running around, honestly, you all have deficiencies. Don't believe me? Go to a holistic doctor, go get your blood work done, and you'll find out you're lacking D, you're lacking C, you're lacking B, a series of Bs. I mean, most people running around, I'm always tired, I have brain fog. Yeah, because you're just a walking nutrient deficiency, and most people don't even know it, and they just take a crappy supplement.
I think
that's another revenue stream.
Correct.
Right?
So, yeah,
I think so.
And I can tell you, I can provide some clarity on that. So my belief when I started this is that you need nothing besides what comes from whole foods. And that's where my heart was. And I could arguably say I still believe that. But what we started to run into is these nutritional gaps. So we take them through this process. We enroll a piece of technology that gives us their basal metabolic rate. We calculate their total daily expenditure, and we come up with a caloric goal. We start there because that's the easiest. We kind of meet people where they are. And there's going to be a multitude of decisions that are going to be made based on things like economics, commitment, things like that. So we might say, hey, listen, we believe that you need 2,400 calories per day. That's 4 or 5 meals per day. Do you want to sign up for our 30 meals a week? And they say, well, I'm good with lunch, and I want, 18 meals a week or 12 meals a week. Then what we will do is we'll take a look at, well, all right, well, where are you going to get this additional protein? And then that's where a product can come in where we can supplement, because I believe that whole foods are the bottom of the pyramid and supplements are at the top. And we can supplement their nutritional strategy with something that we feel very confident in. And it also provides additional revenue, margin, stickiness in the relationship.
Very cool. So they're meeting with a dietitian. Back in the day, we called it a Tanita scale that would determine we actually did caliper checks too.
Yeah.
Do you do calipers or no? You just do the.
I just wanted to take care of something, or I just want to address what you said.
Go ahead.
So what we do is our dietitian creates a strategy for our coaches that walk them through this process, right? And why we had the flexibility to do that, because we're asking them to make the decision, just like they're making the decision a number 1, 2, 3, or 4 at McDonald's. So are you this, or this? And it takes them through a process that then shows them. And yes, we used it. I've used the calipers. Now there's so much technology available.
It's accurate, right?
Device. Yeah, it's amazing. And there's so many different kinds that are hitting the market today. The one we went through, or the one that we committed to, which is called InBody USA. This is the product that is most prevalent in the medical community. So we felt like, and they were also the company that was most willing to meet us where we are in terms of providing education for both our users and our teams.
Is it full body? We're sending impulses through the feet are you doing upper and lower extremity?
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
So essentially what listen, we thought this would be a hurdle at first, because you got to come in, you got to take your shoes off, right?
Take
you
your shoes off.
Stand on this thing, right? It kicks out a bunch of information, and a lot of people have it. It's a full print off. But I think that where the rubber meets the road is the interpretation of the information, right? Because it's going to tell you about hydration, skeletal muscle mass, basal metabolic rate. And then we didn't invent this ratio. So we find out what their total daily expenditure is. We ask them to utilize their steps to classify their daily activity levels, right? And then that's going to give us, then we ask them, we get into what type of calorie deficit would you like? Here's what we think is healthy. And then that gives them a number. And then the meals are like Legos. They're 400 calories or they're 800 calories, right? So then it gives them the flexibility, because we also get a lot of guys that want to come in and count their macros. So we have everything, so they can make it fit. And we have 2 product lines. So we have a lifestyle line, which is 24 SKUs, which is most people, it's going to suit them. And then about a third of our people are in an athlete line, which is about 1 times 5 the amount of food. So we have a bigger meal for either somebody who has more nutritional needs or likes to eat less times a day.
Interesting. So the customer is a combination of the woman that you referred to that wants to lose 40 pounds and someone like you.
Correct.
Right? What about kids?
Yeah. So I believe that this is going to be an area of opportunity for us. So what I know now is that some families, like a mom that's getting 12 meals a week is getting 18 because she's sharing it with her family. But our belief is that this is going to be a very, very big opportunity for our brand. It's on our roadmap. Mostly what we're trying to do today is become the best at what we do today. And as soon as that's the case, then we're going to look for ways to support children in a unique way, because our demographic is parents, busy parents.
Yeah. That's the issue. Everybody's time starved. It's a lack of education, and it's just people just don't have the time. Yeah. I'd rather you prepare the meal and drop ship it to my house, or let me come in and pick it up on my way home from work. Yeah. Right? Yeah. That's awesome. So what is the square footage today? You said 1,200, 1,500 square feet? Yeah. Because I'm not cooking it.
No. So what you would see on our average unit is about 1,400, right? So we have stores we have some that dip as low as the 1,100. We have some that are a little bigger because of space, but we really work to value engineer our space in a small footprint, because we want this available to the most amount of people in the easiest real estate to find, right? So it's just inline plaza in suburban
Class
communities. We have had a lot of success in Class B. So once we get them there and we provide the experience that we stand on, we oftentimes don't need Class A space. Our highest performing units are not in Class A space.
So I want to for the audience, so I walk into this 1,400 square foot Class A, Class B space. I'm walking in there. There's no cooking. So there's no, let's say, aroma of the store, right? I don't have that sense of walking in and smelling prepared meals. So I walk in. What am I meet? What am I met by? What, right? You follow me?
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
is there a smoothie bar? Are there just coolers and refrigerators everywhere? Give me an idea of what's going on in there.
There's all those things. But when we are operating aligned with who we are, what you're going to be met with is empathy and compassion for where you are in your health journey, right? So our people is our best product. And then beyond that is also a protein shake bar, a cooler, images of pictures, some gear, some supplements, and then you will see the InBody 270. So we know if somebody's been there, because when they walk in and they've been there, they're purposeful. When they're looking at the ceiling, our hope is that our staff come around the corner, meet them with empathy and compassion for where they are, because we watch people struggle with health. We watch them drive by because they have to come in and share that they need help with something they believe, even though it's irrational, is easy for others. So we let them know, hey, we help people just like you every single day. Tell me about your current nutritional strategy. And that's the question that typically opens up this floodgate of, they're pretty soon telling us why they need our services.
That's right.
And there's about 25% of our people that visit our stores are just retail transactions, couple meals, couple shakes. They're in a couple times a week. 75% of the revenue that we derive in our business is from subscription-based meal plans. So even though when you come in the store, you might see a lot of noise, young guys grabbing shakes, things like that, the meat of our business is the subscription.
It's going out the back door.
Going out the back door.
All right, talk about that. That's interesting. So give me an average. Maybe let's just refer to a corporate owned or an affiliate owned location. What does that look like? What's the average ticket? What's the average monthly subscription? What am I getting for that subscription?
Yeah, for sure. So to the user side you're sharing. Yeah. So 75% of the revenue is derived from subscription-based meal plans. On our side of the table, we know our average bill is like $140 and our average client's getting about 14 meals per week, but it doesn't look like that because we have 12, 18, 24. So the majority of the people are getting 12 to 18 meals a week. In retail, that meal that's, $10.99 might be like $9.99 in a subscription. But what we did is there was a lot of language around subscriptions about 5 or 6 years ago where people loved that. And what we did is we rebranded that. We call it PLN Plus. And what it is a membership, a no-cost membership basis, right? So they have an app, they're running through the logistics of their plan, but they also receive support, ongoing education, access to the InBody app, all the things. We're sitting down every 2 weeks for a consultation. So how we position it, especially when it comes to cost, because our direct-to-consumer competitors have so much cash tied up in logistics and packaging, we can often be like 25% less than our direct-to-consumer.
Because you're local.
Because we're local.
Because you're local.
Right? And I'm putting a pallets of food on the front door, and they're playing on the door-to-door game. So that helps us leverage economies of scale to drive down costs, to make it a little bit more digestible for the consumer. And it puts us in a position where we can make an argument that we can compete with grocery. And I think if we can save you the time, but we really want to make it not all about the meal. We want to make it beyond the meal because they need more than support. They don't just need food. If food was the answer, we wouldn't be in a health crisis.
That's right. I love that. Very good. So I'm not clear on my monthly cost. So I want to become a customer of Project LeanNation. I want 14 meals a week.
Yeah.
What is that running my household on a monthly basis or weekly basis?
Yeah. And we meet people where they are based on the communities that we're in, right? So we may have a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So like, what it costs in downtown Boston might be different than Indiana, but you're probably looking at about 150 or so.
That's for 14. That's nothing compared to what I'm dealing with when I go to the grocery store. And I have to make it. It's already made. I just have to heat it up.
Yeah, for sure. I think that
does it come in a container that I know I have to peel off the seal, but what about the bottom? Is it aluminum?
You're giving me all the things I can brag about. So yeah, the bottom is plastic, but in that industry, we are invested in like the highest level of green technology, the lowest level of plastic that could possibly be used. And then the last final piece is what they call peel away technology. So we have we have direct-to-consumer competitors that use the same exact packaging solution we do, but after you heat it, it kind of blows up, then you have to cut it away. We just peel it off. So that's
Nice.
just another little thing that's nice for our consumers that they probably don't even know we
Nice.
invest in, but we do. Because we want it to be convenient.
So yeah, I love it. I love it. So as a franchisee, I have my revenue coming from obviously the meals, right? These are prepared meals. I also have my supplement revenue and I have my protein shake revenue. Am I missing a fourth revenue stream?
I only laugh because the guy that runs franchise support for us, he always really hits this home. He calls the fourth revenue stream referrals, because we take care of our clients and they are in some markets higher than 25% of our customer acquisition strategy. So, and we built that all into our app. It's like give 20, get 20. You send a link to your friend, and it's like, it really amplifies our business, because what happens is, like, you know, this woman, she brings this little meal to work and she's tried 100 things. And the first thing they do is they say, oh, she's on something new. And a couple weeks later, she's starting to move around a little better. She's doing well. And next thing you know, they're asking, what is that? We know, because Mondays we have the highest traffic on our website. So we know that they're taking it to work. It's convenient. They're feeling good. It's quick and it smells good. So their friends are asking.
Yeah. Plus they see a difference. Today, when I see a difference, I'm like, what are you on, a semaglutide? And now people would be like, no, Project LeanNation.
That's an interesting topic, though, to be honest with you. In our world, even in my system, there was division, because some of my partners were like, no, that's cheating, and everybody else. Ultimately, I had to take a position and say, hey, just like before, we meet people with empathy and compassion for where they are. And one of the number one drawbacks of a GLP-1 is its impact on skeletal muscle mass. So nutrient-dense, high-protein meals aren't optional. They're essential. So like, we utilize what we call these like organic community-based relationships, which are like gyms, salons, anybody who we could like network with. But medical weight loss has been an opportunity to amplify our opportunity as well.
Let's talk about this item 19. It's actually pretty impressive, and our listeners love to learn. Okay, what does it cost to open? Let's start there. Item 7. I have 237,000 to 354,000 as a range.
I think that this is really compelling, because I think it makes this opportunity available to not just your seasoned guy, but somebody who has a heart to serve and can put together a few bucks. Like, we want to make it available to everybody. Like I talked about before, we try to value engineer the whole process. Plus, like, we have competitors in this space. We don't have a kitchen. So we're building a bar. We have a freezer in the back. And so our build outs are simple and efficient.
I know there can't be a lot of labor. You don't have any cooking.
Yeah, we don't cook.
You have the labor as the franchisor.
Yeah.
The franchisee doesn't have the labor issue. So what is there? Does each location have a dietitian, or the dietitian's coming from you, from the top?
The dietitian comes from the top. But so you mentioned something there that is interesting, because like, let's just say you have a prospect and they're looking at a QSR. So our labor model is different, right? Because we have labor in the product, but not labor in the store. So still, when it comes to prime costs, so the combination of cost of goods sold and labor, we're still lower.
That's interesting. Yeah, totally. And your margin's way higher than a QSR.
Our labor pool is completely different too, because what's unique about our business is that it attracts people who have been successful in this area of their life. Like, our clients show up. It's a mom. All of a sudden, she loses 30 pounds. She wants a part-time job because she wants to help moms just like her. So like, it attracts people who have overcome things, which in my opinion helps when it comes to meeting people where they are. Like, they have to have that empathy to meet them where they are. And if they do, they solidify a relationship that sets people up for success.
Yeah, well, I think it's great. It is amazing the number of ways that you can create wealth in this country. I mean, I had a guy, all he did was work with people with type 2 diabetes, right? The diabetes that's killing you from a knife and a fork. It's all lifestyle. It is not a genetic predisposition, right? That's all he did. It's like, do you have type 2 diabetes? Come in here. That's all he did. This guy's making a phenomenal living just marketing to type 2 diabetes people. I want to talk about your very impressive item 19, and then we'll wrap it up.
So today I can speak to, in item 19, it shows I have an HQ unit in New York that's been doing over like a couple $1 million a year for 5 years on repeat at 24% EBITDA.
Nice.
We have our A, B, and C players. Our top third of the system is doing 1.3, and even our C player is doing about 700. So this is for
and
the
when you say
person.
New York, we're not talking about New York City, right?
No, I live in
Aren't we,
Rochester,
like,
New York.
upstate?
This is gritty.
Right.
This is like,
That's remarkable.
That's what makes me believe that if we can win here, we can win anywhere. And
Totally.
this isn't Dunkin' Donuts. Like, you don't throw the sign up on the door and everybody knows what time it is. We got to go out there and do the work and get to know our communities, but we have strategies for that. But I think that this is a compelling opportunity. And who I'm looking for, if that's important to you, is I'm looking for the guys. When we started, we had a lot of like gym bros, not much money, not much business acumen, full of heart and passion, which filled every gap. And that's what we got started on. Today, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for like the corporate guy or girl who's kind of tired of kind of grinding for somebody else and wants to build something for themselves, for them family, something with purpose and meaning and a margin. Or my other favorite person is a mom who's maybe sent the kids off to college, who's ready to lead and, serve people in her community. Like the people that are going to enjoy this most, this work is meaningful to them. And as a result of it being meaningful, they're going to be rewarded monetarily in a big way.
You bet. More and more people, especially after 40s and mid 40s, is really the sweet spot for self-employment.
Yep.
Like as an average, what we see as a client, legacy is incredibly important to them. It's not just it's like, what did I do? It's not just about the kids staring at them and their spouse and what have you done and how did you protect us and create wealth for us? It's like, what did you give back to society? And it's funny you just bring that up because on your website, you are measuring basically your legacy, right? Your give back, 100,000 happy customers, 400,000 pounds and counting lost, over 3 meals produced. I love that you have that counter. Keep that going. I think that's really cool. We had a brand doing that in like the dumpster business that was reducing carbon footprint, and everyone had a love affair with it, because it was a green movement. This is even better. I do love your story. And when I say I love your story, I don't love the fact that you went to prison. I love the fact that you hit the reset button. I do believe in second chances, right? I do believe people can basically say, okay, like I'm gonna do things differently. Everything I do, I'm going to obsess over adding value to society and being a phenomenal, productive human being and a great member. I love the give back. And I think that what you're doing now, 10X's, whatever you've done.
Thank you so much. I got a couple of quick things I want to share just based on what you said. One of the things that became kind of central to our brand is that, like what you just shared, these are the reasons that people wanted to take that first step. Like it takes a second layer of people smart to take that next step to find out. But the flip side of that, which is really cool, is that when somebody comes in and tells us they lost 60 pounds, that's 100% always the least interesting part of the story. So behind that is, it's addition by subtraction. It's everything that happened as a result of that. And I think that before I ever made $1 doing that, I was just getting rich off of those stories. And to speak to what you said about legacy, like I have a couple children and everything I do is with the idea that I do this for them. And the thing that I'm most proud of in this, that I want to supply to other entrepreneurs, is that I built this whole entire business with them watching me. I gave them a front row seat.
That's right.
That anything is possible for anybody.
That's right. Absolutely. How many open and how many sold?
We have, as of October 11th, we'll have 34 open and we have a total of 84 sold. But right now, what used to take me, and I only got this approved in 2022. So what used to take me a year, we're selling per month. So we still have plenty of inventory. We are well positioned and we're excited to talk to anybody who's interested in serving others by way of nutrition.
It's awesome. Tim, I can't thank you enough for coming on. Love your story. Love your brand. I wish you great success. Thanks for coming.
Thankful to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
You got it, man. Take care. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss out on more great content. And if you're considering investing in a franchise, whether it's the brand you featured today or another opportunity, we're here to help. Visit us at Franocity.com. That's FRANOCITY.com. We love to help you take that next step towards business ownership.